The last couple of years have been very hard on local first responders. From the December 2nd, 2015 shooting, North Park Elementary School, the recent Las Vegas massacre, devastating fires including the Blue Cut, to the very recent Napa and Santa Rosa areas, our responders have seen and been through a lot. And that's on top of the regular 130,000 plus calls we run each and every year. More and more research is being done into the long-term health implications of this exposure, and the fire service is finally starting to take action. From the California Professional Firefighters and California Fire Chiefs Partnership to the International Association of Firefighters' recently opened Center of Excellence for Behavioral Health Treatment and Recovery, to our local contract with the Counseling Team International, who specializes in first responder care. So I just want to say, if you or someone you know could use help, either an employee or a family, please use the resources available and reach out. From peer counseling to professional help, it's okay to ask for help. With that, I want to introduce Department Chaplain Bill Mellinger, who will lead us in the invocation.
Do you know what an invocation is? It's an invitation for God to come, to enter an event, to bless us with His presence. Depending on your belief system, I would encourage you to join me in prayer or to pray as is appropriate for you to invite God to come. If God is frankly not a part of your belief system, then in a crowd like this, there are all different kinds of backgrounds, are there not? Would you at least take the time to stop, to think about the good of this county and what you can do to improve its service? So would you please join me in prayer? God of compassion, Father of comfort, comfort and strengthen us so that we can be an encouragement to those we serve. There are so many events. Chief has just reminded us of them. Multiple shootings here in San Bernardino in recent years. The experience that our own personnel were a part of in Las Vegas, and now the community of Sutherland, Texas, Sutherland Springs. Lord, while we invite you to come here, we also invite you to bless and comfort all those who continue to suffer and grieve. As a department, we've faced a variety of tragedies. Some of those tragedies have even included our friends, our family, and people we know. We pray for those who are facing difficult personal experiences, even fighting cancer and other physical and emotional traumas. Give them peace, heal their bodies, their minds, and their souls. God, we're here to recognize and honor the service of many in our family. Bless those who have reached a milestone of service. Give them encouragement to stretch for the next goal. Some of those we recognize today don't feel like their action was any more significant than the work of many others in the same positions. But help them to accept the recognition and praise on behalf of all their comrades in the fire service. We thank you, Lord, that we have not lost anyone on duty this year. However, we know that the danger is always there. Because of that, we pray for the families who hear the news and wonder if we are among the ones in danger. Bless them, our families, with peace, comfort, strength, as they say goodbye each day. Thank you for their love and support. And Lord, help us to be part of the care team in the station as much as we are on the fire. Help us to live strong in the way we do our job and in the support we give one another. Bless each person being recognized today, and thank you for enabling us to serve. Come, bless. In your name, amen.
Please rise and remain standing for the presentation of the colors by the San Bernardino County Fire Department Honor Guard, accompanied by the San Bernardino County Professional Firefighters, Pipes and Drum Band. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. If I can have the chief officers come up on stage, please. First, San Bernardino County Fire Chief Mark Hartwig, Division 1 Assistant Chief Jeff Birchfield, Division 2 Assistant Chief Dan Muncie, Division 3 Assistant Chief Kathleen Opplinger, Division 6 Assistant Chief Dan Mejia, Division 11 Assistant Chief Tim Porter, San Bernardino County Fire Marshal Mike Horton, Communications Division Manager Mike Bell. We also have a special guest in the audience from our partner in Reach Air Medical, Chris Schrader. Chiefs, you may be seated. We're going to start this morning with a presentation of awards. The Meritorious Service Awards are the highest level of department recognition to employees who have provided exceptional service or performance while on duty or at an emergency incident. Nominations are made to a committee that is comprised of one member from each division, suppression and non-suppression, for approval. Presenting the awards this morning is Committee Chair Captain Mark Murphy.
Good morning. Could I have Captain Dave Newman, Engineer Christian Cavada, Firefighter Paramedic Robert Gastel, and Firefighter Andrew Ballinger please come up? About 11 p.m. on Wednesday, November 2nd, 2016, units from San Bernardino County Fire Station 4 in Silver Lakes were dispatched to a traffic collision with fire on Highway 395 just south of Shadow Mountain Road. Upon their arrival, Company 4, staffed with Captain Newman, Engineer Cavada, and Firefighter Paramedics Gastel and Banniger, found two vehicles involved in the traffic collision, both with major damage. One vehicle was fully involved with fire with two deceased occupants in it. The second vehicle was well involved with fire around the engine compartment area with one occupant trapped and trying to get out. The occupant was actively receiving burns but could not remove himself from the vehicle. Because the victim was in imminent danger from fire and suffering from burn injuries, Station 4 personnel took immediate action to perform a rescue and rapid removal of the victim from the vehicle. Firefighters Gastel and Banniger began pulling and attempting to free the occupant from the driver's seat, while Captain Newman and Engineer Cavada pulled a hose line and began fighting the fire in an attempt to keep it at bay during the rescue effort. The victim was successfully extricated from the vehicle, and both firefighter paramedics began advanced life support on the victim, who was ultimately flown by medical airship to a burn center. During the rescue, both firefighter paramedics Gastel and Banniger received burns to the face, ear, and neck areas. Both have since recovered and returned to duty. Receiving the San Bernardino County Medal of Valor, Captain Dave Newman. Engineer Christian Cavada. Firefighter Paramedic Robert Gastel. And Firefighter Paramedic Andrew Banniger. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, gentlemen. Could I have firefighter paramedics Brent Sargenti and Justin Weber, along with Captain Jason Serrano and firefighter David Columbell, please come up on the stage. On September 22nd, 2017 at 2 p.m., Medic Engine 226 and Medic Squad 226 responded to a report of a commercial structure fire on North Del Rosa Avenue in the city of San Bernardino. Medic Engine 226 was staffed with Captain Jason Serrano, Engineer Sheldon Oskowski, who is not here today, firefighter paramedic Brent Sargenti, and Medic Squad 226 was staffed with firefighter paramedic Justin Weber and firefighter David Columbell. Upon arrival, the crews found heavy smoke and fire coming from a single-story commercial building, which was an old restaurant that had been boarded up with heavy plywood and timbers. The crew from 226 was given reports from bystanders on scene that people were trapped inside the burning building, and it was known that homeless people frequently occupied the building. In order to initiate the search and rescue operations, firefighters Weber and Sargenti immediately began trying to remove the plywood from the doorway. After gaining access into the structure, an unconscious victim was located in a barricaded space several feet away inside the building. While flames directly above the victim were being pushed back with the attack line, firefighters Weber and Sargenti lifted and carried the victim to safety outside of the structure using what's called a Denver-style rescue technique. Firefighter Weber and his squad partner, firefighter Columbell, then initiated life-saving measures and cared for the victim. After being told that there may be additional people inside the structure, firefighter paramedic Sargenti and Captain Serrano continued to search the building while performing extinguishment efforts. No additional victims were found. Receiving the Medal of Valor from San Bernardino County Fire Department, firefighter paramedic Brent Sargenti. Firefighter paramedic Justin Weber. And receiving exceptional service awards, Captain Jason Serrano. Engineer Sheldon Osikowski is not here with us today, but he will receive his Exceptional Service Award later. Also receiving an Exceptional Service Award, firefighter David Columbell. Ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, gentlemen. Could I have Captain Robert Brockert, Engineer Matthew Helmkamp, and Fire Suppression Aides Michael Kordich and David Arnold please come to the stage? Many firefighters and law enforcement officers, paramedics, nurses, and doctors were at the Route 91 Music Festival in Las Vegas on the night of October 1st, 2017. Most of those people fled for their lives during the mass shooting, but 4 San Bernardino County firefighters stayed and helped and saved dozens of victims. Captain Robert Brockert, Engineer Matthew Helmkamp, and fire suppression aides David Arnold and Michael Kordich all start their stories very similarly. Quote, "It sounded like fireworks are going off as part of the concert," until they saw victims on the ground and heard people yelling that they had been shot. For Captain Bob Brockert, the story is best stated by his daughter, Catherine. Quote, When the gunfire started, my dad made us all get down and stay down until there was a pause in the gunfire. He then moved us to a secure area where he knew we would be safe. He grabbed my mom by her face, looked her in the eyes, and said, "You know I love you, right? But I have to go." He then turned around and ran back into the gunfire. Captain Brockert spent the next several minutes rendering aid to and moving victims to safety while a hail of bullets rained down upon him. Bob at this point cannot remember the numbers of victims he helped to safety, but he estimates it's in the dozens. Until the chaos submitted, Bob's family did not know where he was or even if he was alive. 3 hours later, Captain Brockert was reunited with his family. Catherine said, "I came out onto the sidewalk and all I heard was my dad yelling my name. I finally saw him standing there, covered in blood. We ran to each other and just hugged and cried. I know if my dad had not been there, more people would have died." Engineer Matt Helmkamp was with his partner Nicole and some friends when the gunfire started. Fortunately, they found a place to hide. And after making sure that Nicole was okay and telling her to stay put, Matt started assisting and grabbing the injured and bringing them to where Nicole, who's a nurse, and the friends were still seeking concealment. While there, they tried to treat victims using anything to stop bleeding by applying pressure, using bandages made of torn shirts or any article of clothing they could, and using belts as tourniquets. Matt darted in and out of hiding to help anyone he could to get near his area of concealment, treating some of the victims where they fell. When the gunfire finally stopped, they made their way to cars where they were parked. They utilized an ambulance, a car, a couple of pickup trucks. They commandeered from citizens and loaded and transported the most critical injured to the hospital. For Cordich and Arnold, they were approximately 25 to 30 feet away from the main stage when the gunfire erupted. Both men came to the aid of a man who had been shot in the neck and was bleeding profusely. They immediately administered life-saving measures, specifically CPR, with another bystander holding direct pressure to the neck wound. The other bystander left them as the next round of gunfire erupted. They continued to do CPR while gunfire still rang out around them. They could feel the impact of those rounds striking the ground right next to them. And they would cover the victim with their own bodies to protect it during those volleys of fire. Michael was then shot in the arm, but continued to do CPR while injured as best he could. After a couple of minutes, they both realized that Mike was bleeding too significantly. They wanted to move their victim, but due to the numbers of bodies around them and the fact that the victim no longer appeared to be survivable, they chose to get Mike to help. They sought cover near the lighting stage in the center of the venue, and while en route to this point, the gunmen tracked them with gunfire. As they moved, they could feel the rounds all around them, impacting the concrete and splaying shrapnel on them. Their next move was across an open expanse to the House of Blues tent, where there were several other panic-stricken people huddled, taking cover. When they believed that there was a lull in the shooting, they convinced 5 or 6 others to join them in a run to a more protected area. They were able to run to a fenced area, breach the fence, and make their way to a nearby vehicle. In that vehicle, the Uber driver agreed to help take Mike to the hospital. Once at the hospital, Mike was triaged and assessed a lower acuity patient. Mike knew this and had prepped the hospital staff to expect hundreds of victims. Many hours later, Michael would finally receive his multiple-hour surgery to fix his arm. These men stand before us, not just normal heroes that the public sees every day as firefighters and emergency responders, but as heroes to us, their brothers and their sisters, because they went beyond what our normal training and expertise teaches us to become even greater saviors of humanity. Receiving the Medal of Valor from San Bernardino County Fire Department, Captain Robert Brockert. Receiving the Medal of Valor, Engineer Matthew Helmkamp. Receiving the Medal of Valor, Fire Suppression Aide Michael Kordich. Receiving the Medal of Valor, Fire Suppression Aide David Arnold. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, gentlemen. Can I have Captain Dave Mathis, Engineer Shane Leonhardt, who's not here with us, I believe, and firefighter paramedic Michael Stakowitz up here. In the early morning hours of Friday, June 23rd, 2017, the crew from Medic Engine 23 responded to a structure fire in the 12,000 block of Reed Avenue in Grand Terrace. Shortly after dispatch, the units were updated that there was one resident still inside the home. The crew, Captain Dave Mathis, Engineer Shane Leonhardt, firefighter paramedic Mike Stakowitz, arrived within 5 minutes to find fire showing from an attached garage and heavy smoke from all sides of the home. They immediately deployed hose lines and initiated a search. Captain Mathis and firefighter Stakowitz entered heavy smoke and fire conditions while searching. Engineer Leonhardt assisted with hose lines and radioed important information to incoming units who were still several minutes away. Dave and Mike located the elderly female victim within minutes and brought her to safety, turning the victim over to another paramedic, and then they continued on with the firefight. Receiving the Exceptional Service Award, Captain Dave Mathis. Receiving the Exceptional Service Award, firefighter paramedic Michael Stakowitz. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Can I get Fire Prevention Officers Tim Tate and Michael Carey up here, please? In November 2016, an apartment building in the city of Victorville was plagued with several dumpster and vegetation fires within the complex. Fire investigator Tim Tate painstakingly performed many hours of groundwork identifying two suspects by setting up surveillance and electronic tracking equipment. Tim spent long nights and weekends coordinating an elaborate undercover surveillance operation. Just a few months later, while under surveillance by our investigators and the Sheriff's Department, the two identified suspects ignited a dumpster fire at a neighboring apartment complex and were immediately placed under arrest. During interviews, both suspects admitted to igniting a series of fires in the area beginning in June of 2016. The suspects were also connected to a fire which destroyed a 20 by 50 foot hay pile at a feed store in Hesperia and linked to 3 separate attempts to ignite a large hay pile in another feed store in Hesperia. The suspects were charged with 20 counts of arson, and a plea deal was arranged by the district attorney's office in which the suspects pled guilty to 5 counts of felony arson. Both were sentenced to 5 years in state prison. Over the course of a year, many fires were ignited in northeastern San Bernardino, and unidentified subjects started at least 8 of these fires and fled the area prior to the arrival of suppression crews and fire investigators. Through several months of follow-up and investigation, fire investigator Mike Carey identified the unknown subject through video surveillance installed near the scenes and in surrounding neighborhoods. Upon expanding to igniting other fires in the same quadrant of the city, the subject was seen on video in a local business just prior to the Mart fire. A joint investigation and surveillance operation began with the assistance from San Bernardino Police Department, and then Michael spent countless hours and days gathering information. And on August 23rd, 2017, our fire investigators and the San Bernardino Police Department executed a search warrant in San Bernardino at the home of 38-year-old Peter Granados, who was subsequently arrested for arson. Upon questioning, Mr. Granados admitted to setting all 8 fires, including the quick-spreading Mart fire that endangered several homes and burned 670 acres. Without Mike Carey's diligence and determination, this arrest would not have been possible. Receiving the Exceptional Service Award, Fire Prevention Officer Tim Tate, and Fire Prevention Officer Michael Carey. Thank you. Can I get this whole group up next? I don't want to have to call them all out. I'll say their names in a moment. Up on the stage, we have Assistant Fire Chief Dan Mejia, Captain Curtis Janeway, Captain John Garber, Engineer Dirk Carlisle, Engineer Ed Neufeld, firefighters Nick Harkins, John Marini, and Fire Suppression Aide Daniel Atkinson. Did I miss anybody? For several years, the Rapid Intervention Crew Training, also known as RIC, for the department took place at the Arrowhead Springs Resort. Over the last few years, the facility has fallen into poor repair. Every training session required large-scale cleanup and repair. During the Tower 8 Academy, the training division was informed that the part of the facility normally used for this RIC training was to be demolished prior to the scheduled tower training. This was a last-minute change, and it put the RIC training in serious jeopardy for those tower cadets. With no alternate location, Captain Garber assembled the RIC cadre and formed a think tank session to solve the problem. It was decided that rebuilding the entire facility was the only way to create a quality training environment. Recent truck operations training that occurred at the Southern California Logistics Airport in Victorville, and the team knew there were several buildings that may suit their needs there. To use the Victorville facility, it required a formal request through the airport authority and some red tape that Assistant Chief Dan Mejia took this on and expedited the process. The building had been abandoned for over 20 years and was in need of serious cleanup. The team contacted Crew Superintendent Captain Matt Topoleski and inquired about the hand crew helping out. They agreed to assist, and the project was now underway. An order for building materials was placed for around $6,000, and the big issue really was time. The cadre had 5 weeks to build all of the new props, and the lumber order was reduced to expedite the process, still taking 3 weeks to receive all that material. Captain Garber had to get inventive and acquired more material so that a quality facility could be constructed. With only a little more than 2 weeks till the Tower RIC training days, the lumber arrived, and the cadre was able to pull together a few truly dedicated and talented employees who were listed on this award, and in 5 days built the facility that had taken months to build previously. Receiving a joint Exceptional Service Award, Assistant Chief Dan Mejia, Captain Kurt Janeway, Captain John Garber, Captain Nathan Lopez, Engineers Cliff Bracken, Dirk Carlisle, Ed Neufeld, and Sheldon Osikowski, and firefighter paramedics Javier Marquez, Nick Harkins, John Marini, Rich Bromell, and Fire Suppression Aide Daniel Atkinson. After he gets done shaking hands, if I can get Assistant Chief Tim Porter to the lectern.
Good morning, and Captain Murphy, thank you for the introduction. My name is Tim Porter. I'm an Assistant Chief that's assigned to Division 11, otherwise known as Special Ops or Training. It's my honor today to call the people that have recently promoted within the last year to come up and get their badge pinned on them by the Fire Chief, as well as their helmet given to them. I also want to echo some of Chief Trapp's words that he mentioned earlier. Much of the success of the people that will walk across this stage is due to you, the family and friends of these people. Your support in their careers and the moving on of their careers is very, very important. So, as Chief Trapp said earlier, thank you very much. First one to come up is Assistant Chief Dan Mejia. Next, we have Battalion Chief Josh Sprague and his wife Veronica. And next we have Captain John Miller and his wife Catherine. Next, we have Captain Scott Roberts with his wife Andrea, children Ivan, Mason, and Kylie. Next, we have Captain Robert Sheridan, his wife Krista, and the children Dylan and Alyssa. Engineer Steve Houston with his dad, Larry Houston. Next, we have Engineer Jason McLaughlin and his wife, Ashley. Next, we have Engineer Brad Moore and his wife, Joe. Next, we have Engineer Al Pluma and his wife, Christy, with their kids. Next, we have Engineer Andrew Weber, his wife Ashley, and daughter Blakely. And next we have Engineer Brian Wharton with his uncle, retired captain from San Diego County Fire Department, Ken Carpenter, and his wife, Jennifer. Next, we have Hazmat Specialist 4, Jacqueline Hadorn. And next we have Account Representative Aaron Cox with his daughter Alyssa. have lead mechanic Tom Pitts. Next, we have Environmental Specialist 3, Joe Reyes, wife Priscilla, and the daughter is Penelope. Next, we have Fire Equipment Tech 2, Juan Gloria. And next, we have Payroll Specialist Genevieve Hughes. Next, we have Info Systems Analyst 2, Travis Padilla. Next, we have Dispatch Supervisor Otto Schramm. And next, we have Assistant Emergency Service Comm Manager John Tucker. Next, we have Office Assistant 2, Cassandra Weber. And that's it for the promotions. We'll move on now to the new hires. And when we talk about the new hires, some of the people we'll introduce are from the previous Upland Fire Department. Earlier this year, San Bernardino County Fire Department annexed Upland Fire Department. And along with that fire department came an agreement that we have with Range Aircraft. So we'll be introducing these people at this time. So from the Upland Fire Department again to San Bernardino County Fire Department now, this is Captain Brett Dickerson, his wife Amy. And next, from the Upland transition, we have Engineer Mike Johnson and his wife Jessica, daughter Harper and Heidi. Next, again, as part of the Upland Transition, Fire Prevention Officer Matt Bradley. Next, we have Fire Prevention Officer Wes Collins and son Aaron. Before I introduce the next person, I just want to elaborate just a little bit on the Reach ship. This next one's a flight paramedic that works on that ship. The goal of the Reach ship is it flies severely injured or immediate patients to trauma centers. They also do inter-facility transfers. They're basically an ambulance in the sky. So they are all over the county. So let me introduce flight paramedic Greg Lattimore. Next, we have flight nurse Jessica DeVries and her son Gavin. Next, we have flight nurse Nicholas Garcia and his father, Mark Garcia. Next, we have flight nurse Krista Pope, her husband Nicholas, and daughter Brooklyn. Another part of county fires, we have nurses in Division 11. This year we hired nurse educator Robert Davis and his wife Liddy. next we have Fire Prevention Officer Zarid Ibarra, along with his wife and son. And next we have Fire Prevention Officer Keith Moore. Next, we have Fire Prevention Officer Trainee David Abbott, along with his dad. And his mom. Next, we have Fire Prevention Officer Trainee Ruben Luna, along with his wife Jennifer. Next, we have Hazmat Specialist 2, Jose Rodriguez. Next, we have Hazmat Specialist 1, Carl Wendt, and his family. Next, we have Household Hazardous Waste Events Coordinator, Erica Acosta. Next, we have Environmental Tech 1, Jeremy Babcock. Next, we have Mechanic Chuck Calhoun. Next, we have one of our staff analysts, Jessica Ban. Next, we have Office Assistant 1, Maria De La Roca. Next, we have Office Assistant 3, Margot Del Rio. Next, we have Staff Analyst 1, Brianna Diaz. Next, we have Vehicle Parts Specialist James Dick. Next, we have Vehicle Parts Specialist Mike Gallardo. Next, we have HR Assistant Diane Mendez Cantu. Next, we have Office Assistant 3, Carrie Richardson. Next, we have Info Services Manager Joel Rothschild. Next, we have Office Assistant 3, Justine Salas. Next, we have Mechanic James Trujillo. We do have one more badge that needs to be presented along with a helmet. Chief Trapp, do you want to do that?
So we don't want to forget who your announcer is. I'll go ahead and announce him. Your newest Assistant Chief, Tim Porter, Division 11 of Training. So Chief Porter, get back to work. We have service pins now.
So now we move on to the department service pins. And what the service pins signify is the amount of years that the personnel have been with County Fire. The pins range from 5 years. I've seen them as high as 35 years. We do have a recipient today that was invited to be here for 35 years. I'm not sure if he's here or not, but we'll see. 30 years, Ron Feldman. Also at 30 years, Assistant Chief Dan Mejia. Also at 30 years, Hazmat Specialist Brian Otter. At 25 years, Andy Shipway. Also at 25 years, Ionia Wallace. For 15 years, Cynthia Otter. Also at 15 years, Ed Segura. At 10 years, we have Aaron Cox with Donnie and Alyssa. Next at 10 years, Kalina Cox. Next at 10 years, Noah Citron. Next at 10 years, Andy Glenn. And next at 10 years, Ingrid Moreno. Next at 10 years, Ira Newman. Next at 10 years, Dwayne Pinalto. Next at 10 years, Carlos Sanchez. Next at 10 years, Terrence Aldrich. Next at 10 years, Will Raybaum. At 5 years, Juan Gloria. That's it for all the recipients that have gone across the stage. Let's go ahead and give them a hand of applause. And Chief Officers, you can be seated. It's now my honor to introduce you to your Fire Chief, Mark Hartwig.
Thank you, Tim. I'm going to apologize for my voice. I was at a 5-set match for my daughter's volleyball tournament, CIF playoffs, and so hopefully I can hold it together here. It strikes me that as we recognize the individual achievement today, promotions, new hires, that we are recognizing the individual, and yet we don't hire individuals in this business. We hire people that are more interested in the success and mission of the organization and the team than we do the individual. And you might have seen it, I certainly felt it on more than one occasion, the discomfort that is expressed by those that we recognize. And so, if I could, to those that we recognize today as a new member of the team, those that have promoted to a position that they've worked long and hard for, or someone who has gone above and beyond the call of duty, let me suggest to you that I need to recognize you. It isn't for you. Your families need to recognize you, and those that you put your lives on the line for each and every day, or those that support you as you go out each and every day, they need to do that. So thank you for your service. Thank you for your achievement. Thank you for your hard work, your commitment. It isn't lost on us that we're recognizing you as an individual, and yet you represent those that we don't have the opportunity to see the great things that they did this last year. For every act of valor, for every act of service, there are those that give and serve and aren't recognized each and every day in this organization. So thank you for that. I want to spend a little bit of time too. It seems as if the more my career progresses, and I'm closer to the end of my career than I am to the beginning, I'm much less interested, or I find myself much less drawn to the act of service or the promotion itself. It's ceremonies like this that I find myself drawn into the family and community interaction that happens right here on the stage. We talked about the behavioral health issues and the post-traumatic stress disorder that is just now coming to the forefront in the fire service. there isn't anybody that I know that has spent any amount of time answering 911 calls that doesn't have an image in their mind that they'll likely go to their grave with. If I could take any one of those images, if I could replace any one of the images that you all have here today, I would replace it with the interaction that I was able to witness here today, and quite frankly, that I see out here even as I speak right now. Families, there is no shame in admitting that you need help. There was a time in the fire service where there was shame associated with that. There was a stigma. It was suck it up and get over it, deal with it. We don't have the tools to deal with it ourselves. And if we did deal with it ourselves, we likely didn't deal with it appropriately. It's been said more than once here today, but I couldn't get through this week without reading about another firefighter who took his own life because of the pressures of the job. Some at work and some at home. The programs that California Fire Chiefs Association and California Professional Firefighters, along with the International Association of Fire Chiefs and International Association of Firefighters, the program and the commitment that we're embarking on is unprecedented. But we're here for you as much as we're here for those that put themselves out there each and every day. No man is an island. No woman is an island. And we want to make sure you know that. So if you need help for anything, if you need somebody to talk to, if there's a call that's bothering you, if there's a series of calls, if there's simply a personal interaction at home that you need to talk to somebody about, please reach out and talk to the professionals and the programs that we have in place now and that we're establishing. I need to let you know, there was a dream that was county fire, but you could only whisper it because it was so fragile. That's a line from Gladiator, my favorite movie, and they're speaking of Rome, of course. When I heard that line when it came out in the movie theaters years ago, I couldn't help but think as I sat around and dreamed about what county fire could be. Not for us, but for the people, the taxpayers that we serve, the communities that we serve. I couldn't be any more proud to be your fire chief. I couldn't be any more proud to represent you, I couldn't smile inside anymore when I hear stories and comments and kudos given to you in this organization. I am the recipient of your hard work. It's not lost on me. Thank you for those of you that I call the troops that are on the front line, whether you're answering a phone in our front office, Maria, or you're on a fire engine, or you're out doing inspections, or you're a staff member like me, somebody that shuffles a lot of paper, but couldn't be any more proud to be part of the fire district, even though we might not be on a fire engine. Thank you for what you do. My commitment to you is that I will make you proud as you make me proud. Thank you. Congratulations on your achievement, families. Thank you for putting up for the hard people that you have to put up with at times. There is no good time to go to work when you're raising a family. I get it. Thank you for your commitment as they have committed their lives. Thank you very much, and hope to see you soon.
Let's give one final congratulations to all the recipients. And as the chief said, I want to give a congratulations to the all just shy of 1,100 employees of County Fire. And I want to say a big thank you to everyone for attending and helping us celebrate. Please join us for lunch, courtesy of the San Bernardino County Professional Firefighters Association and Local 935, right outside the doors, and have a great afternoon. Thank you.